Hello, hello, hello! Welcome, Spooky Empire! Hello, how are you doing? Good weekend so far, yeah? Yes, yes. So we will get right to it. I want to introduce your panel moderator who's going to give you a peek behind the scenes at SeaWorld's Howl-O-Scream. Please join me in welcoming Dustin Ehrlich! Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, how are you? My name is Dustin Ehrlich. We are so excited to be doing this panel today. I am one of the supervisors this year for the Howl-O-Scream event. We've done 4 years of Darkness and her sisters, and we're so excited to do a 5th year, and we have a lot to talk about. So we're excited to have you guys. We're going to do a little bit of a behind the scenes today, which I'm really excited about. Usually you guys don't get to hear a lot of this stuff. What it's like to be a performer, what it's like to bring some of these characters to life and to do this event. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up 4 performers, and you might know them. Come on up, Stephanie, Emmeline, Shannon, and Rachel. So, hi everyone. How's it going?
Hello.
I'm gonna go down and let you guys introduce yourselves and tell us who you play, who your icon is. So, without further ado, Stephanie.
Hey, I'm Stephanie, Steph, and I played Flame all 4 years of Howl-O-Scream.
Hello, my name is Shannon, and I played Frost for 3 years.
Hi, I'm Emmeline, and I was Darkness for 2 years. Hi, I'm Rachel. People call me Ratch, and I was Scratch for all 4 years.
Awesome, thank you. So, I can see most of you. Who's been to the event before? Awesome. Well, welcome back. We're in our 5th year, and we're so excited. We come back stronger and better every single year, and we're very excited to bring you some new scares and new events and new happenings. But like I said, for this panel, we get to talk a little bit to the performers about what it's like to be an icon, to bring some of these characters to life. So I'm going to ask them some questions, and then they're going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to do what they do. All right, so I'm going to begin, and I'm going to open the floor to everybody and start with, what was it like to be a Howl-O-Scream icon? What's it like to bring, I mean, because when you start, you don't really know that they're going to become these characters, and then you see them all over the place. But what's it like to bring them to life?
I'll take it away. So it's simultaneously a lot of fun, but also a lot of pressure all at the same time, you know. We see this character written on a page, and we feel a lot of responsibility for bringing that character to life and making sure that it pleases our own artistic creativity, but also it pleases all of you guys, our guests that come and watch us year after year. So I want to make Scratch the best character for you guys, mostly. So it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of pressure and work.
Yeah, going with the pressure, since I kind of came in a little bit late to the game, the fan base really grew throughout the years. So when I came in, there was already a huge fan base for this show. So I felt a lot of pressure coming in. I was like, how can I really move this character and make it even better from years past and really grow this show as well?
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. It was just so surreal, you know, having this character grow in our hearts, but then also in yours as well. And a moment that just really stands out to me was, it was one of our very first shows of the season, and someone was screaming Frost, and I was like, oh, that's definitely one of my friends. And I looked down, and I did not know this person at all. And I was like, wow, like my character really touched somebody, you know, and they love Frost. And I'm so glad that I was able to create a character that someone, you know, resonated with or loved. And then that's the moment that you're like, wow, this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I'll never forget hearing the soundtrack for this show for the first time before. It was just a concept. We hadn't learned anything for the show. We were just kind of getting the lay of the land of what this big secret project we were working on was. And I remember hearing it and being like, this is cool. this is really cool. So it was something I was excited about from the very beginning, but then seeing the way we left it after 4 years and knowing that not only was it so special for me and for us as a team, but that it was so well received by guests was something that was bigger than I ever expected it to be.
Nice. So for those of you who haven't been to our event, these are our marquee characters. You might have seen them on billboards, on all of our offerings, on the websites. It's hard not to see a screaming siren somewhere when the Howl-O-Scream is happening. We do a show. I mean, you guys might be able to describe this better than I can. I experienced it last year, and it's neat. It's in the round, and they sacrifice people, and it is really, it's what people come to Howl-O-Scream for. These icons, I think, they become part of the event. So these ladies have brought them to life from scratch. And so yeah, they were given these characters, they were given a description, and then after 4 years, they've created the characters that you guys know. So, so I will follow that up with, how did the role evolve throughout the season or seasons?
I mean, as I said, I wasn't the first ever Darkness. There were 2 other performers that portrayed her before me, and we all brought different things to the table for this character. We all came at her at a different approach. So for my role specifically, I feel like every single year she was just a little bit different, still had that same intention, demanding blood, of course, wanting those sacrifices, but we all had a different way of coming about her. So in that way, it kind of evolved year through year for Darkness.
Yeah, we definitely added our own personalities into each siren. So there's a little bit of our own personalities in Scratch, Frost, Flame, and Darkness. As I got older, I feel like the character got older and wiser and stronger as well. So just being able to add what I was going through life and put that into the character was awesome to evolve. And also, not only did our personalities evolve as sirens, but our hair and our makeup changed along the way as well. And kind of as our makeup artists, who were our makeup artists mostly through all 4 years, saw us and watched the show, they created different art and like different makeup around that, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I really, really valued the collaboration that we had like with our makeup team, because it was something where they were honing their craft the same way that we were honing ours. And so to like build those relationships with them, where they were coming out and watching our shows and seeing how their makeup and their looks were being portrayed on stage, and using that to, ooh, next time I'm gonna try this, or that looked really cool when you did that, so I'm gonna keep that for your look. It was a really fun collaboration, and I feel like we made really good bonds with them as well.
Nice. And if you don't know how these events work, it's a massive undertaking for any haunt. The makeup department is amazing, and they set up and they do all of these people every day. Every day they're redoing this makeup, and they have a crucial part in it. So thank you for bringing that up, and it really does kind of evolve as it goes. But I'd like to ask a fun question at this point. Not that wasn't fun, but what was your first haunted experience, either as a fan or performer? What was your first haunted experience?
Well, my first one was actually with my dear friend right here, and I am the biggest scaredy cat, and you can ask her. I got so scared from a scare in a house, I pushed her into the scare actor and accidentally punched her in the face.
Yeah, sure did, but I can take a punch, so.
You punched her in the face?
So I'm definitely better on this side of the haunts, yeah.
Good. Okay, so there's some dangers involved. We're learning that now.
Queen Darkness is a little scaredy cat.
Anyone else first haunt experience?
I mean, I have always been a Halloween girly since as long as I can remember. And I just remember being younger and being like so excited every year when Halloween came around, and my parents would take me to haunted houses, that like local haunts, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I have a lot of core memories really looking forward to Halloween as a kid. So being involved in Howl-O-Scream has just been like cake for me.
Yeah, you get to play. I know, I love that. And then you guys talked a little bit about working with the makeup artists and the look developed. Did you have any help in the design of your character's look? Did you help in any way to evolve the look of the characters?
I don't think we necessarily had a lot of input in the design of the characters. That was mostly the creative and director team that designed exactly what they wanted to look like and how they wanted them to come to life on stage. But I do feel like, because kind of tagging on what Rachel said, our artists really like tried to make us look and feel our best. So we have these prosthetic makeup pieces that are created in a generic way, but I do feel like they took a lot of time and energy and care to make sure that it fit our faces perfectly or accented like our features in the best way. So if I was to wear the prosthetic, it might be cut or applied a little bit differently than when, say, Shannon wears the same prosthetic, and that's a fun fact. Frost and Flame, by the end, were in the same prosthetic piece. It was just painted completely differently by two different artists. So, twins.
Yeah, we also have understudies, just in case we can't do that spook that day. And my understudy is about a foot taller than me, and our face shapes are slightly different. The way our body is slightly different. And they made us look exactly the same, which is so interesting to me, talking about prosthetic.
Yeah, I was going to say Frost went through some changes with her wig and also her arms. If you look really closely each year, she has a different ice design on her arms, and it was just kind of working with the makeup department and my particular artist for that year and kind of their vision. So I think that's always fun. I know someone can show me a picture and I know exactly what year that is based off of the different design that was on my arms.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, kind of going with Darkness, the first 2 years she wore long black gloves up to almost her entire arm, but the first year I did it, the gloves were no longer, so we kind of had to create a look for the rest of her body. And my makeup artist knew that I loved the scales so much, so I feel like every single day I somehow had more scales each time.
So you did kind of affect it. And I mean, that's kind of how it works in these collaborations, right? Like, you get cool people that see that you like things, and it maybe evolves whether or not you know it, which I think is very, very cool. How many of you have done an event? Have you been a character or a part of events? So we have a few people here. I know this community. I've been a part of the haunt community for a long time on both coasts. I've worked at many different large events. So it's always cool to see people, and I see people over and over again. But you guys might not realize what it takes to get out there every single night and put on the show for these huge crowds and keep the energy up. So my next question is, what's going through your head when you first walk out in front of the crowd each night? That first thought that goes through your head.
I am nervous every single show.
Okay.
No matter if it's my first show or my last show of the season, I am always nervous. We're always wanting to put on the best show possible for our fans. So every day we're thinking, what can we do differently today? How can we change our choreography just a tiny bit, our improv sections? What can we do differently to make it interesting and make it exciting, especially for our friends that come every single night and see every show? Can we make it different for you each time?
And keeping that energy and quality up every single performance we do is really important to me as well. So it may be my 150th performance of this show, but it's one person's first time and maybe only time being able to see me as Scratch. So I really try to think about that every time I perform.
Yeah, definitely going off of that, I try to make sure that I do everything that I need to do to be healthy, well rested, so I can give you guys the best show ever. But at the same time, when I first step out or right when that music starts, I'm also judging the audience. And I'm trying to see what kind of energy you guys, each audience is different. Is it an audience that kind of just wants to stay quiet and just take it all in and just watch? Is it an audience that will scream every single time that they see something that they love? And kind of seeing how you guys are gonna react to us and then playing off of that.
Yeah, and I mean, some people have kind of figured this out over the years, but we definitely hide in plain sight when we go out to show, to get ready to go to places. If you haven't seen the show, it was in the round, so our platforms for each character surrounded where the audience was. So what I really loved about the show was that it wasn't just a show, it was an immersive experience, which is just something I don't feel like you often get in a theme park, And I remember when we were every time I would go out to get ready for the show, I would call it going to my house because I would hide under my scaffolding. And we would go out cloaked so that we were in plain sight, but you couldn't really tell that we were there, and we would just appear on stage. And I would spend that time walking, thinking about how this show was so important to me and being this character was so important to me. And like Rachel said, I really thought about how, you know, life happens and some days are harder than others, but going out there and like doing this show justice and doing this character justice was always such a high priority, and I always wanted to put everything I could in every show.
Love that. Thank you. So I will, and I'm going to ask a few more questions, and then we're going to open the house to a few questions, just a couple at the end. So think of those questions as we go along. But we talked a little bit earlier about this, and I want to talk again about what was the most physically demanding part of your performance each night. And if you've ever done one of these events, you know that it's long hours, and we work in Florida, and we work in the elements, and these performers, I mean, you guys can attest, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but there's a love to it because you guys are part of this community. You guys understand that they're so excited to come back in here and do this event every year. And they go through all of it just to put on a good show for the guests. And they really honestly do. And I get to be a part of that. But it is very physically demanding. Some of these people are in puppets, some of them are in stilts, some of them are in little tiny boo holes, we call them, just waiting for you guys to come around the corner, and they do all of this for the love and some money. So I will go ask again, what was the most physically demanding part of your performance each night?
Okay.
Okay, we're getting into it.
There was a lot of
Everyone.
physically demanding parts of our performance each night. So our whole day was about a 10-hour day when we came to SeaWorld and when we left.
At minimum.
At minimum.
Sometimes longer.
Yep. So that means walking in, sitting in our seats for makeup for about 3 to 4 hours. So we were sitting getting our prosthetic on for about 3 to 4 hours. So if you're like me and you can't really sit straight and you're always thinking about things, that was hard for me to do. So just sitting.
If you're me, you're meditating and maybe kind of slipping into some sleep.
Yep.
Astral
Caffeinating
projecting.
already.
And then we had a little lunch or a little dinner, depending on what time it was. Then we got our wigs on. Then I got 10 minutes to warm on up and head on stage for my first show. So I think just being in the mindset of doing that, sometimes 10 days straight with our schedules, or I lost my train of thought. Doing that, being in the mindset for 10 days straight, and then going on stage, doing 4 shows, and then getting all up and doing it again tomorrow, I think is just...
It's just demanding just the
demanding.
schedule alone.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the most physically demanding.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think also just knowing that after a show, you want to cool down, you want to get your water, you want to breathe for a second, and then before you know it, you need to prepare for the next show. So you got to get back up, you got to get your cardio in, you got to warm up your muscles. So that constant up and down flow of everything. Plus all of our stages, we had to kind of prepare because all of our stages are different. They're different shapes, sizes, heights. And I know for Frost, we had that extra element of snow, or in Florida we like to call it snope. And so sometimes the wind would be against me a little bit, and it would blow all the snope on me, and I would breathe it in, and it would get in my mouth, and it would be great, or I would be slipping a little bit. And so just making sure that I have my center, and I'm doing a lot of core work the entire season, so no matter which way the wind blows, I'm prepared, and I can stand on my 2 feet.
Remember when we made each other do abs in between every show for like a
Yes.
brief period of time?
Yes,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
fun.
that stopped.
Yeah.
It stopped.
It turned into milkshake breaks.
Yeah.
That was a 180 from crunches to milkshakes, but I bet that was more enjoyable. Good answers. All right, so I want to continue on with that. So, has anything ever gone hilariously wrong during a I love that, I gotta laugh already. Anything gone hilariously wrong during a performance?
Well, yes.
Oh, yes. What has gone hilariously wrong?
You go first.
Well, the really cool thing about our show, one, is that this show is, to be our characters, you have to be a dancer, but you also have to be a really good actor. You can't just be one or the other. And I think that's something that's incredibly unique and rewarding about this show, and probably one of the reasons why I love it so much. So, you know, sometimes you go out there and the conditions are not exactly what you expect, and you're like, all right, we're just gonna roll with this, and that's okay. Also, you never know what the crowd is gonna be like. You never know if there's what the reactions are gonna be like, and we have a lot of moments in the show that are a little bit more improv based, or may change show to show, night to night, what we do in those moments, and taking it off of the guests is always super fun. We also, if you haven't seen the show, we have planted audience members that they're a part of our cast, and we end up, spoiler alert, sacrificing them. They were fake. And the first year, so if you haven't seen the show, Scratch over here brings up a beautiful, lovely, young, innocent couple, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, and it ends up going horribly wrong. I won't get into all that, but when they're getting pulled up onto the stage, they're acting as if they're watching the show for probably the first, over half of the show, until they get pulled up onto Scratch's stage. And the two lovely humans that were the boyfriend and girlfriend for that show liked to try to up their ante of how much they could blend into the crowd, and they decided that they were going to go buy Dippin' Dots at the start of the show. And so they're just eating their Dippin' Dots, and when they got pulled up onto the stage, launched the Dippin' Dots in the air. I'm 11 foot in the air, and I just see them flying, and that's probably the only moment that I maybe cracked a little smile on stage.
That's great. That feeds right into the next question, which is when you broke character. So that's, flying Dippin' Dots.
Don't worry, we got it on video for the memes.
Nice.
So during the show, I present each sister for their sacrifice moment, and it was come time to introduce the twins. And I say Frost and Flame, and my teeth just come right out. I catch them with one hand, turned around, popped them into the back, came right back and just put my arms back out. But of course, everyone was looking at me at the time because I was the one speaking. Everyone in the audience was laughing, so it was very hard not to crack a smile on that moment.
That's a good one.
A smile without your teeth.
But you caught it.
I did.
That's very
Yep,
impressive.
caught it with the left hand, did a quick turn, went right back
Right
out.
back
That's
in.
showbiz,
Look
baby.
at that. These professionals here. Any other moments, or we're going to leave it? I see. Yeah, go ahead.
There was one element in the show where the boyfriend gets stabbed with a knife, and sometimes in Florida, it's a little bit condensation-y, slippery. So there was one night when the girlfriend goes to pick up the knife and goes like this and flings it through the air behind her, and there's no knife. So there's a part where she has to stab him, and she goes, I got no knife. So she just claws him to death. And so I'm just watching the girlfriend, and I don't really know what's happening because I'm just enjoying the show. And I'm just watching the girlfriend claw the boyfriend. I'm like, what happened with the knife? He's still bleeding though, so it still worked out, you know?
Meanwhile, I guess just had a fantastic souvenir.
Right.
We still don't know where the knife is. If
Yeah,
you have
to
the
this
knife,
day.
please send it back to
The knife is
SeaWorld.
gone.
We'll
Sometimes Rachel's clothes ended up on the roof of the
Oh
Altitude
yeah,
Burgers.
there was a
too.
part where I take off my skirt and I threw it onto the roof of Altitude Burgers many times.
Well, remember this last year, there were a lot of guests that would stand on our stages, and they didn't know that the CO2 was going to go off. So that was also super funny.
Yeah, Frost and Flame had victims that they were tied to the front of our stage as we were getting ready to sacrifice them, and to pull our little magic trick of making them turn into the burnt and frosted bodies. Some CO2 would go off to conceal the switcheroo, and our victims got so good at their role and acting so really afraid, hey, I'm not playing, somebody come help me, that people would try to go help them. And our stage manager would have to step in and be like, you have to get down, you have to get down, you have to get down. Because, well, yes, CO2 was about to go off in their face.
Wow. Well, that's good. See, we're selling it well. So before we start into our Q&A, I just had one more question. For for those of you who might be interested in becoming a character or doing one of these events, and there's always space, and we love to have anyone out to do these events, so please do. It becomes a fantastic community, and you meet friends that you'll have forever. It's so cool to be a part of them. What advice would you give to somebody who might be doing their first haunt or spooky event?
I think for me, because this is kind of what I did with Frost, I was not the first performer for Frost. So my very first year, I wanted to live up to everyone else's expectations, and I wanted to make my show director happy, and I wanted to make my choreographers happy, and I wanted to just be whatever Frost they wanted me to be. I wanted to be the Frost, you know, what they had in their minds. And then as the first run went, and then as the years went by, I discovered, you know, you can, if you put yourself into it and you really make the character for you, that it becomes more genuine. And then your scare, your haunt, your dance, whatever you're doing just becomes electrifying. It becomes more genuine. It becomes more scary. So really staying true to yourself. And making the character based off of you, because you are performing that character.
That's great. I love that. Any other advice for aspiring characters?
I would say just don't put yourself in a box. Growing up, I was always like, I'm a dancer. That is all I do. I just dance, dance, dance. But as we've kind of shared, this show is way more than just dancing. As all scare acting, it's way more than just acting. There's so many different elements. And if you don't push yourself and try new things like this, you'll never know how much you love it, because now this is my favorite season, and this is what I love to do the most throughout the year. So yeah, just don't put yourself in that box. Really try new things and really push yourself.
Nice, I love that. Okay, well, we have a microphone right here in the center. If anyone has any questions for our performers, please stand up and head up to the microphone at this time. If not, I have a lovely list of questions I can continue. About any questions whatsoever, just work your way up to the mic and I'll see you and we'll address you. Okay, so I have one more. What's your favorite memory of interacting with fans while in costume? And I know there's lots of little moments as a performer as well. Things that you don't expect, or maybe there's that one person that you're like, do you remember that year there was that one guy who did this one thing? Or we just have repeat people that come all the time that we end up becoming friends with that see you again and again and again. So what's your favorite memory of interacting with fans while in costume?
I think we all would probably agree on this one, but there was this very, very sweet little boy and his mom, and they came to Howl-O-Scream a few years in a row, right? And he was just so passionate about our show. He had watched it on YouTube, and he would stand in front of each of our stages, and he knew the choreography, and he would perform it with us. And we would, he was just so excited, and I kind of talked a little bit with his mom, because we would do like a little bit of a meet and greet with him, kind of grab him as we were leaving from our show and take him over to where we could take pictures. And she just was like, I saved up to make sure that we could come back and bring him again this year, because he just loves you guys so much and would know us all by name and by character name, of course. But he would make sure that on the part where Frost and Flame were featured, he would be over by our stages, making sure that we saw him, and just watching him kind of like grow up the past couple years, but be so excited and so passionate about this was really special.
Nice. I know that we have some repeat fans that dress as the characters as well. I had it in my zone last year. I was part of the first zone, so we had 20 witches. If you went to the event, there might even be one or two in the room sitting amongst you. We had someone came in. She had the complete costume, like her parents made it from it, and it looked amazing. So, have you ever had little sirens come and hang out?
The girl that you're referring to, she
Yeah.
definitely she would come multiple nights, and they always had different costumes, and her family was just really excited about the show too. So we would make sure that, you know, I think the year that she came as like different scare actors in the zones. So I'm not sure if I ever saw her in like a siren look, but she was always supporting all of the different zones and houses from the whole event. Big Howl-O-Scream fan.
One time someone came up and showed me their scratch tattoo. They got a full like scratch, not my face, thank God. but like there's a scratch symbol, so it's like an S, and they got a tattoo of that, and I was like, that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty
Crazy.
cool.
That's pretty
your,
cool.
Your characters become such that people are tattooing it on them. That's pretty cool. Like when we're talking about icons and like creating these icons, like we don't really think about it, you know, like you see them every single year and they start to become something that you look forward to, and then we have these repeat guests that come back just because of what you created. So I actually think that's very, very cool. And continuing on with that, because of this community, I love this community, I love the haunt community, but how has the haunt community changed or grown since you first started? Because when you start in a haunt event, unless you really know what it's about, it's hard to describe like what the event is like and the community that you get into. So how has it changed and grown since you began?
For me, I didn't know this haunt community existed and was as strong as it was before I started doing Siren Song. So I just became more aware of how cool this community is and how supportive and just how they love cheering us on, and they just come just to have the time of their lives each year. So mine just grew by becoming aware that this community is possible, and it's something that I would want to go to as a guest as well, like meet up with all these people and just go to HHN, go to Howl-O-Scream, go to Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream. It's just amazing how tight-knit and huge this community is.
Yeah, and I remember in 2020, before we even knew that we were doing Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld, Rachel and I actually went to Howl-O-Scream in Busch Gardens, and I remember that was my first and only time attending that event and just not even knowing like what I was in for. But I also, I enjoyed that event so much, but then watching how we took Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld and made it unique to our park and unique to our Orlando guests was a really exciting thing. And I think that a big part of that was, you know, why Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld, and I think the Sirens kind of defined that for sure.
And it gets better every year. We learn and we grow, and it gets better every single year, just by experience alone. So I want to get to the questions. Go ahead.
Hi. So I heard that last year was going to be the last year for the Sirens. Is that true?
Good question. So we're always unveiling new entertainment. We are not ready yet to let you know if the Sirens are coming back yet.
Never really leave, though.
They're never. Yes, they're always here. I mean, it's a good sign that we're all sitting here talking to you now. I will say you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we will give you all the information as it comes along. The Sirens will always be a part of the event, I think, but what part they'll have in this event is TBD.
Okay. What can you share I know every year SeaWorld has given more budget for the event as it's grown, since it's newer. What can you share about hints and things that are going to be added for this year?
So we're always looking to add new elements, new scares, new scare zones. We will have all of that information on Facebook and Instagram, which is my wrap up, but now we've already done that. But please jump online. You can just go to SeaWorld.com as well. All the information, all of our hints, everything that we have will be out at on those platforms. So check and continue to check as our event evolves. Go ahead, Luigi.
Oh, okay. Hello, and thank you all so much for coming to Spooky Empire. If it was up to you, what kind of a scare zone would you want for Horror Nights or Howl-O-Scream or SeaWorld? Like, if it was up to you, what kind would you want?
Personally, okay, well, I'll open that to the floor. Do you guys have a scare zone that you think would be
I
fun?
mean, obviously a Sirens scare zone.
Oh, see, there we go.
Well, I don't know. I'm probably the worst person to ask since I'm a scaredy cat and my eyes are closed half the time walking through. So I'll let my sisters answer this one for you.
I would want to see the Sirens in different decades. So like 80s Sirens or maybe 70s like hippie Sirens, and how, because we're The siren characters are pretty old. We've been around for many, many years. So how were we killing people in the 70s? Was it any different from today? That's what I would like to see.
Killing through the years. That's what we could. Sirens killing through the years.
Sirens through the decades. I love that.
Exactly.
That's a good answer.
Sold.
All right, so there you go. Sirens through the decades. Is there one that you would like to see?
Me?
Yeah.
Like maybe for like Epic Universe or like regular Universal, maybe they could do like Luigi's Mansion, like haunted house. Like that would be pretty cool.
We'll see if we'll give him a call. We'll see. I don't have much pull over there, but I got some friends. We'll see what we can do.
Well, yeah. maybe cross it over to Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know. We never done a crossover house before.
Fair enough. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Thank you. Good luck getting the princess. And
Daisy doesn't. Oh, Daisy doesn't need rescue. That's the other one.
oh, well, all your assistance to Mario is much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luigi. All right, who's next?
Hey there, so it's kind of a question for everyone on the panel today, but what is your process in going through and like how long does it take to create the event, whether it's a show or the event in general?
Wow, that's a great question. It takes months and months and months. We've been in development for months for this event. Most of these events start in April, May, June, you know, like the planning process, submitting the ideas, getting the contractors, you know, like, because a lot of these houses are built on the spot. A lot of these things are happening after our park is closed because we have a daily operation. The prep work is insane to do an event like this, you know, and it's hard to describe. It's a lot of work. It's very, very rewarding. We've all been a part of it, but a lot of it comes down to the last minute as well when it comes to planning. And I think for me, being part of that process, it's just about being patient and rolling with things, you know, because we'll have concepts and we have fantastic things that we want to do and pie in the sky ideas because we want to give you guys the best possible show that we possibly can, you know, and so we're like, we're going to do this thing and they're going to fly into the sky, and then they go, well, you can't do that. Well, there's no way to physically do that, right? But so it evolves and it kind of changes all the way to the last minute. But the planning process, we're already in. Like once summer kicks in, we're in full Halloween mode and we're planning. And I'm sure some of the other events probably start even sooner than that. But the logistics of your makeup artists, getting everything that they need, you know, like setting up these rooms, because we use our facilities, everything that we have on property, right? We repurpose things. We rent the best equipment that we can. We bring in the best makeup artists that we can. And we set up all of this stuff just for this event and then run daily ops as well. So like finding a computer as a manager during that time is very difficult to do. And you're meeting new people all the time. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Do you do events? You sound like maybe you have okay.
Yeah,
What do you do?
I was working for Universal with their guest services team for a couple of years ago, back in 2020 and 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting to do that where we changed it instead of doing the house during the event because we didn't have one for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They did it during COVID and actually included it as part of the park admission.
Yeah.
So that was a really unique experience to kind of go through that and see how, you know, kind of using what they had working and then realized, oh, we can't do the event this year, but we still want to do something for everybody.
Right.
So that was a really cool experience to be a part of.
So you kind of get what it's like to
Yeah.
just kind of roll with things, man. You
Yeah.
know, but it's cool to be a part of it anyway. And you know, like there's a healthy competition, I think, with the other parks, right? But like it's healthy in that I think we all build each other up. Like the event gets better and better and better. We see something that someone else does, and then we want to do that, or we want to top that. You know, so. Their performers, when they have an off day, they come and see our show, and then we do the same for them. Like it's such a cool community. So thank you, man, and we appreciate you. We love your event too. Thank you. Got one more question, I think. Let's see what time we got because we got other panels. Let's do one more question. Go ahead.
Hi, were you guys a part of the Howl-O-Scream 5K last year? How was that, and is it coming back?
It is coming back.
I know San Diego is doing it, right? I was so jealous to hear that.
I don't know about San Diego. I know that it's coming back for us.
Okay.
So if you haven't done that event, it's very, very cool. You get to run, and we have our characters are all out, and you get to run through all of the scare zones, and like, it's a really cool way to get some exercise and be chased by scary people. But I'll open it to our performers as well to answer that question.
This past year was the first year that we did that event, and I remember that it was after a Howl-O-Scream event night, so it was kind of funny because we've been doing this a minute, so we kind of have our nightly routine of how things go, and that night it was like, okay, we're done, but we're not done. And so we played like a little waiting game. We went back to our makeup trailer and got touched up, and then we were actually at the starting line, so they had a huge scaffolding over the big like get started, ring the bell, and we climbed up there, and we were like, don't know what we're gonna do when we get up there, but we're gonna make it look good. So doing that honestly was like a lot of fun. I remember we could see that there was this huge inflatable blow up screen that had like a promo for Howl-O-Scream going, so we could see like clips from our show and from the scare zones and from Monster Stomp, and we could see like this huge beautiful promotion for the event that we're so proud of, but we're also like welcoming you in to go
And
get
that's when we
scared.
saw costumes too. People would come fully dressed in blue or purple
Yes.
or orange, and
that's
some
right.
Groups. If people were running into groups, they would like each have a siren, and they were waving at us and everything.
Yeah, they were like
at
running
the start
under,
line.
yeah.
So that was an awesome event.
Yeah, we're excited to bring it back. Did you do it?
No, I just heard about it.
You heard
Well,
about
come
it?
on down.
Yeah, come and run.
I
It's.
wanted to do it this year, but it's not happening this year.
I'm gonna look off stage. It is happening this year.
Is it really?
Yes. The person behind the curtain is nodding, and they say it's happening this year, and she's in charge. So.
Where do I go to find out?
You can go to SeaWorld.com, or you can go to Howl-O-Scream Orlando, Instagram or Facebook. That's the third time I had to work that in. And I have it at the bottom here, so I don't have to do it again. Please go to Howl-O-Scream Orlando for all that information. That event is a whole lot of fun. It's also going back to like putting on an event is a lot of work for our performers, and just I keep touching on it because we're there too. We're there before the performers, we're there after the performers, trying to make sure that they have everything they need, and it's a lot. And so that event, we'll do the whole event and then have everyone stay and go out into different spots just to entertain you guys. So I feel like sprint times have to be a little faster, right? Race times have to be faster when you have scary people running behind you, right? So maybe you can get a new PR. So come out and run SeaWorld's Howl-O-Scream 5K. All right, everyone, that is all the time we have for our panel. Thank you very much, Sirens. We really appreciate you guys. Please come to our event. And stay tuned for all the fun and exciting things that we have for you. We do have new offerings this year, and we're excited to have all of you back. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, Spooky Empire!